as you know that as we had a conversation off camera in the beginning when we kind of got introduced to each other, though we met in Mumbai, but that time we were kind of short of time, but yeah, we talked about negative things in the world which are happening all around the world, like wars or people killing each other, people torturing animals, and a lot of greed all around the world. A lot of people do suggest that do not watch news, do not kind of know about it. What's your opinion about it?
Okay, I think that that is a very extreme view. I myself have experimented with it because there does become a time when we just feel bombarded with negativity and we kind of don't know which direction to take. But I've generally noticed on the spiritual path that extremes don't work. That if we take a very extreme view on something, it normally we push in a direction and then it just bounces back, and then we find we're watching lots and lots and lots of news. That I think that we do need to be aware of what's going on in the world around us today. That we can't be, what is the animal, the ostrich that just puts its head in the sand and not be aware. But on the other hand, that the human mind, the human heart, it does need filters, that we can't take on too much negativity. So I think a nice thing to do is to find news channels or news anchors or whoever that we're also using them as filters, that they are reporting on maybe some very negative thing. But if that human being who's reporting on it has a positive outlook on life, that he or she will give a very clear view on, yes, this is happening, but won't make us feel like this is absolutely the end and we're all going to die tomorrow. And, it's important for us to realize a few things. Number one, life is eternal. That even if this planet went up tomorrow in a big ball of nuclear flames or something, you and I and everyone listening, we still exist. We still will be here. We'll be in our astral body. We'll take another physical body at some point. Life cannot die. So people don't need to live in great fear. That's point number one. Point number two, don't we think that the person who created this world knows how to take care of it? And for us to look at all the problems and think, oh, it's so bad, I'm not even going to look at it. In a way, we're judging God. And we're saying, God, you have no idea what you're doing and you've created a terrible place. And these are important things for us to think about on the spiritual path. Does God want all of this? In one way of looking at it, you could say he does, otherwise how would it happen? But in another way, no. That he wants all of us to grow up and learn how to work together and just literally grow up and learn how to be nice to each other and solve problems and learn how to not be greedy. I mean, how many cars can one person drive at one time, or how many houses can one person live in one lifetime? That whoever has money, they actually have a responsibility, and this is all of us. Whatever we have a responsibility to use what we have to help uplift others and help them achieve their own highest potential. And then that's the real way for all of us to grow. That I was told that in ancient India that people who were really, really greedy were looked down upon actually in society and did not have a high position in society. So let's come back to the original question here. I don't think putting our head in the sand is the right thing. I think that we need to be aware. We need to be really conscious of the filters that we're taking that in through, number one. And then be aware of our own selves. If we go on some binge watching lots of negative news or whatever, well, yeah, no, maybe we're not going to feel nice. And so we should be honest with ourselves. Okay, maybe I've had a little bit too much of this, because also we all have to process all of this information and make sense of it and feel. And this is what all human beings are doing all day long, is we get all of this information coming in and we learn how to feel okay no matter what's coming in, and then how to be channels and give out light and love and joy. And we have to be honest, sometimes we get overwhelmed, and so we need to move a little bit away from there or there and go in this direction. But just hiding from life, I don't think that that's going to work.
What a lovely explanation. I really appreciate the point of view you have got about it. So in short, I can say that you mean to say that we need to be aware, very aware of what's happening around. We need to filter it. We need to process it and then do something, contribute something to make it better instead of hiding.
Yes, we were just talking about this, and thank you for bringing that point up, because it's so important. It's not enough just to take this in and then just say, okay, I, do a little meditation, now I'm okay. We need to take all of this in, and then we all need to ask ourselves, what can I do about this? And that God has a special role to play through each one of us. And maybe, we're not all presidents or something, but each one of us can uplift this world in certain ways. And we have a duty to become channels of light and do our part of uplifting this world. So that's so important that we need to know what's going on. We need to process it and ask the question, what can we do about it? And then be that little beacon, that little channel of light.
Very interesting, very nice, very impressive.
It's important because
very important.
It's really important. We live in a world right now where we're all getting so much information, and that's a great thing. It can help expose places where wrong things are happening, and people can say, hey, this is wrong, and as a group we can make changes. But because we're getting all of this information so much, it also can become overwhelming, and I think we all need to be honest and process as much as we can and take in the right amounts and in the right ways, and then we can use this also as a way to make this a better planet.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Now, talking about your movement, Ananda, you have been, kind of at the forefront for peace of this world, global peace, I would say, and also been awarded, isn't it? So, what's your mission when it comes to global peace? How do you take it ahead? How do you kind of, what steps do you take to make sure that one day, maybe not, if not today, maybe if not tomorrow, maybe someday, one day, we can make this world a better place. We can make this earth a better place, wherein there will be tremendous amount of love among ourselves, towards nature, towards each and everything, whatever exists on this world. So how do you work on that?
Okay. And yes, Ananda was awarded this Global Ambassador Peace Award for all of us that are with Ananda being ambassadors of peace. And so our highest way, we try to pick it up from the highest point that we can, and that is from a place of consciousness. That Swami Kriyananda said that even if Jesus Christ became President of the United States, that there's so many problems there, he wouldn't be able to solve them all. And I found that very interesting. And it's that people need to become peaceful within themselves first, and then that will flow into politics. It will flow into different economic solutions. It will flow into medicine. It will flow into the arts, so that we have uplifting arts rather than arts that are bringing us down our consciousness. So my job, people in Ananda, our job is to help uplift people's consciousness and help them find peace within themselves. And then they'll naturally want to fix all of these things, and they'll naturally share that with people who are in positions to do things in the normal practical way. You see, people normally would say, let's get out in the street and let's hold up signs and yell for peace. And you think about it, that doesn't make much sense to yell for peace. And it, you can try it, it doesn't work. And you can try implementing laws to tell people not to fight, but they end up fighting. But if we can change people from the inside and help them feel the benefits of being peaceful, then you don't have to write all of these laws. And still, there's always going to be a need for some laws and some order, and I like order, and that's a fine thing. But there becomes a limit where you do so much and it doesn't work anymore. And so if we can change people's consciousness, that will change. There's one more thing I want to interject here. I feel it's a very important understanding of the teachings of Ananda and our gurus. And that is that this world goes through changes that are cyclic, that it goes down in something called the yugas, that life is very dark and people hate each other and throw rocks at each other and burn each other's books and whatever, do all kinds of stupid stuff. And then life goes up and we start realizing the oneness, and it goes through all the different yugas. The point of this is, even if people do nothing, the world will still get more peaceful and better. We are in an ascending age, but we were born in this ascending age for a reason, for us to participate and work with that energy and take it and give. If we don't give as individuals, it still will figure itself out, just due to the nature of the yugas. But if we give and we become part of that process, we grow so much spiritually, and that's a very important thing.
So nice. Interesting. Now that the way you said, like, they say that charity begins from home, but you say charity begins from within, isn't it? I think that's the crux of this whole discussion, isn't it? So instead of starting it from home, we started from our inner self, isn't it?
Yes.
We work on ourselves to make things better, to make this world better. Because when I have a better mind, when I have a better heart, better emotions, better energy, that will flow.
Yes,
isn't it? That will
absolutely
help us to flourish.
Yes.
And spread positivity everywhere, spread joy, happiness everywhere, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So interesting. Now coming back to our topic, like we were discussing Kriya Yoga. For like coming to Ananda, what is the right age, or maybe what's the right criteria to come and join it? Or does it need any particular background, like somebody is allowed, somebody is not allowed? Is it like that, or everybody is welcome? How about kids? How about youth? How about businessmen? How about people who work in all different fields? Like, what does Ananda mean for them?
Ananda is the name of our organization, but it also means bliss, as we well know. And bliss is for everyone, and our organization is absolutely for everyone. We have people from all different walks of life, meaning different careers that they may have had, or maybe, you know, they had other religions that they followed and now they've come to this. We have people who were born in Ananda. So they were born to two yogi parents who practice Kriya Yoga, live in the community, and were born into Ananda and have been doing it their entire life. We have schools, so we educate people as children in order to teach them to be kind and be loving, and techniques for concentration. And in our schools, people score in the top percentile, even against people, you know, boarding schools or wherever, where people go there just to get good grades on the exams. So people come in through any which way you could ever imagine, and it's never too early, it's never too late. If people feel attracted and feel that they want to explore this path, absolutely everyone is welcome.
So nice. Now, one more question in my mind. For example, if I want to grow in my career or my personal life, is it a good idea to be with or contribute? I would say, I won't say like joining Ananda, but it's a contribution. It's a give and take relationship, isn't it? It's about what better can I do, or what better I can learn, in a way, isn't it? So will it also help in my personal life, in my career, in my, maybe I want to be rich or like that, you know?
Sure.
It's just
That's a great question.
common thinking.
It's very common thinking, and it even makes sense. So let's say we're at a place in our career, but we need, let's say, 1 more hour per day to put into the career in order to get to this higher place. And we think, wait, you want me to go over here and start meditating and taking the classes? That's going to take time away from where I want to get to. A person in our lineage, his name was Rajarsi Janakananda. He was a millionaire in America many years ago, so very wealthy. On the board of many trusts, and a self-made millionaire. Started off as just a laborer, I think, at a railroad union or something like that. And so, I don't know, when he was in his 50s, I'm not sure the age, someone said to him, how can you afford to waste so much time in meditation? You see what he would do? He'd put a sign in his office outside the door that said, in conference, and he would sit there from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. every day, and then he'd take that sign off, and then he'd get into all of his business meetings. They said, how can you afford to waste that time? Why are you not giving it into business? He said, I get my mind so focused and so clear that I can make decisions in a second that would take other people, you know, hours or maybe days, weeks to make. And he could see deeply. He'd be sitting in business meetings and people would be running the figures by him, and he'd say, wait, 30 minutes ago on page 3, you had quoted the figure as that, and now you're saying it as this. Something's off with that. Because he had that deep concentration. So if we learn concentration, that our success, it will become multiplied. And it's very much worth learning how to concentrate using the techniques of Ananda. It will give that success. I could go on and on about this because success, concentration is certainly a critical factor of it. But another factor that people don't understand is that success comes via something, magnetism. And now we know magnetism of the filings on the magnet or whatever, but we can learn with spirituality to attract things using very subtle means. For example, we can attract success, we can attract money, and it's not only by slaving hard and working and doing all the different formulas. You'll find that people who are lucky in one arena, they also become lucky in another arena. Napoleon, he promote his generals by asking others. Of course, he'd look at their career and how did they do, but he would ask, is he lucky? And he used that, and he wanted lucky people around him because there is such a thing as success magnetism. And we can learn to develop that. And then, you see, you can study all you want, you can, whatever, sit at the Excel spreadsheets and analyze all the money and everything. But some people, they attract opportunity. Absolutely. It's like this guy just showed up in the office and I don't even know why. And most people don't know how that works, but there is a science to it. And we can become more magnetic, and we can learn to use the power of the mind to attract whatever we want. That is not an idle promise, or I have used this principle in my own life. I've watched many other people use it, and it seems too good to be true. There is a little caveat, you read, there's a little asterisk, and then there's the stuff you have to read below. And on this one, it is, as you grow spiritually, as you have more energy flow through you so that you become more magnetic, you will change on what you want. Then you won't want certain things that you thought that you wanted. But it's part of the process and the way that it works, and it's fun learning how to attract the things that we want, and then we evolve into what we want, and we gain more power to be able to attract higher and higher things.
So interesting. So in short, I can say that, like, when you become a spiritual person, your desires change in the right direction. Instead of, like, maybe if I get into spirituality, I kind of attain certain potential. I know my potential. I know how to channel my energy, how to utilize my mind, brain, or concentration. I can be a negative person also. Like, I can use it in a negative way.
Yeah.
So spirituality will help people to be on the right path, right direction, isn't it? They will change what is what they desired long back or before coming to spirituality was not right, and they will understand. They will have a better understanding, isn't it?
It's so important for us to first of all understand that intellectually, and then implement it and stay fluid and change and evolve and change our desires. It's we should analyze them and have good desires. And then the end of the spiritual path is to have no desires, that we realize we already are one with all of it. Why would I want that thing when I already am that thing? But this is a process. We don't just intellectually leap there, that we refine our desires and have better and better desires. And also, God gives us bigger challenges. Like, if I don't know, we wanted to feed 10 people, okay, that would take a certain amount of money, a certain amount of coordination and energy. If we wanted to feed 100 or 1 lakh or 1 crore, all of that, then it takes more growth on our part to figure out how to do that type of thing. But that would be a very good desire, to figure out how to feed 1 crore people or whatever. That's just one example.
Right,
but then we are growing, we're evolving and learning how to be greater channels for God.
So nice. Now, one more thing that comes in my mind is, like, when we be a part of Ananda, do we need to sacrifice what we're doing? Maybe I'm well off with my business or job, whatever, or my family. Do I need to sacrifice all that and just kind of, dedicate myself to Ananda? Is it like that?
No. We believe in a very, very balanced path, and we believe that it's very healthy to have a balanced family life, business life, and spiritual life. And it's not good to be fanatical about anything, even spirituality. Even to say, oh, I'm just going to only look for God now, it doesn't work, because God has given us family duties. God has given us business duties for a reason. And we need to honor those. We need to honor that we are all connected and part of this world. And it is not more spiritual to sit down and chant Om all day long versus being in the office and being peaceful and helping all of your office, mates, whatever we call them, co-workers, how to help uplift them and how to have them be more spiritual. That it's not spiritual to turn off the news and run away and go hide in a cave and just chant Om. Yeah, it's way more spiritual to take some part of your day and meditate some, but then this is the laboratory, as the British say, the Americans say laboratory, in this world of, can I make my spirituality real? After meditating, can I go and see all these challenges, and can I still stay happy? And can I help be a channel of light and uplift people? And that to me is much more real, and I have a higher respect for it. It's a higher Dharma way of spirituality. Those who can be in the world, we're not of it. We're not just saying, oh, the office mates, they go out and they get drunk, so now I'll go do that. And I'm not saying do the wrong things of the world, but that we can be in it and that we can be helping people. That then our spirituality, it is tested, but then we prove ourselves on this battleground, that we can take God's power and do the right things and help people. And that's a much higher version of spirituality.
Very nice. So nice. Amazing.
It's so important because people get this notion, when I'm old and I'm retired, then I will go meditate. But how many people have energy to do it at that point of life? And I'll tell you this, that if you start getting into spirituality now and doing it in a balanced way and just taking a few minutes a day or whatever's appropriate, then when people get into the older phase of life, they still will have the energy because they will understand how life works and they will consciously be working themselves to a point where they can meditate long hours per day at that phase of life. But we need to take the right steps now. And also people somehow, they get the notion that, and this happens, often people, again, I'm a Nayaswami, which means new Swamis. And so people come, Swamiji, of course you can do it, but what about someone like me? And I really dislike that. It's, no, what about we? That I have my challenges, you have your challenges, but there's nothing that makes a Nayaswami better than any other human being on this planet. And again, real renunciation is of renouncing the ego, and there can be a homemaker who has all of these duties, is serving God and her children by taking care of them. That person can be much more spiritual than someone who's a monk and who has done this outward renunciation, but maybe on the inside there's still a lot of ego, or not a desire to serve other human beings.
Got it.
And I look for, where are the true saints? Where are the ones who have that joy and who are happy in serving? And usually they're the ones who are just quiet and loving and kind and don't ask for anything. They just want to give.
It's very nicely explained. I kind of got a pretty clear picture about Ananda as a whole, as a movement. And we discussed, I think we touched each and every part of our life, from career, from business, from news. We discussed whatever came in my mind as a common man. But one more thing, very important.
Okay.
Family life, in particular marriage. What is point of view, Ananda's point of view, I would say, the movement's point of view about marriage?
I'm so glad you asked this. I feel it's really, really important for the world. So we have two different ways that people can become Nayaswamis. One is the path that I have embraced in this incarnation, which is to stay single. And we have different stages of, we take a pilgrim vow, and then Brahmachari vow or Brahmacharini, and then Nayaswami. Over here, people, if they're married, they can take a pilgrim vow and then take a Tyagi vow, which they're still married, but they're going towards a point of celibacy in their marriage. And then ultimately that the Nayaswamis are doing their absolute best to be celibate. They take a vow to never get married if they never were. If here, then, now here's the important point, because most people are married, to look at their partner as God. And that so in marriage, the purpose, God has given us marriage, so that as human beings, of course I'm saying, that people can begin to see what is true love? How can I be more giving and more kind? And it's the hardest in a personal relationship where you're always there with one another. It's very easy with someone you just see, you know, casually just smile and be nice. Okay, love you, buddy. Okay. But to really give and learn and cultivate and refine oneself to evolve an understanding of love within, that's not an easy thing to do. But this is very important. Very often, there's swamis in India who look down on householders, and that is absolutely not good at all. That we have to see that we are all one, and that there's different paths to renouncing the ego, to achieving God realization, and that both are valid. And there's pluses and minuses on both of these directions. And each person has to look and see and feel what is valid for him or her. And commitment is also important, that if one decides that he or she wants to be a swami unmarried in this way, fine. And it's important to stay committed to one's partner and learn to love him or her more and more deeply. I'll just say it right now, that actually sex and love are opposites. That the more people have sex in a relationship, the more they will find there's a lot of fighting and that they're not getting along. And the more that people decide not to treat each other like animals, but see God within one another and love each other on a higher way, in a higher way. And obviously, sex is a part of life that God has given it. It's part of making children, and there's nothing wrong with that if people are married, and to see that as an expression of love. I just want people to understand that there's a higher expression also, which does not involve sexuality whatsoever, that it involves seeing God within one another. There was a couple in Ananda, and someone asked them, what's the secret to your relationship that you guys seem happy all of the time? And they said that we love God more than we love one another. And so when we're loving each other, we're actually loving God within each other. And if there's some difficult thing I don't want to do for that person or whatever, I feel, wait, but I want to do that for God. And that was the secret of their very harmonious relationship. Swami Kriyananda's parents, he said, I never knew them to have an argument. And they both were very highly evolved souls that gave birth to this other very highly evolved soul. When I first heard that, I thought, that's not possible. Every couple I've ever met, they're always having some, maybe you didn't see it, but it was always happening. But I've now found that it's true, that I've met couples in Ananda. They're highly evolved because of all the work that they've done spiritually, that now rather than losing control of their emotions and having egoic fights, that wise men discuss and fools argue, and that they don't lose control of their emotions. And no matter what the big problem is, they can simply calmly talk it through and talk it out. And they can relate to each other as gods and in higher ways. And I've come to see that this is possible. And it's why I'm driven, you might say, to help people find God, because I know the life that I saw in Las Vegas, where people are addicted to gambling and all kinds of terrible things, and they live like animals. And now I've met saints, really, who live high lives, dedicated to high ideals. And I see the beautiful lives that all human beings have as their potential, and that I know that people can make great progress in this lifetime if they want to, and if they go on to a path that will help them along that way. So marriage, it's an important institution in this world, and India does a great job of upholding that institution, and it's a joy. The West needs to learn a lot from India. India has so much to teach the West. Unfortunately, people get so caught up in materialism and just having a faster car, they miss the more important things in life, like having a loving family and having people that support that family unit in all different ways. And anyways, we're all here teaching one another now and helping each other, and we will learn to take the best from each culture. It will happen.
Since you travel a lot, you have got a better picture of what's happening in different cultures. What are the good things, bad things, isn't it? You kind of observe things, isn't it?
Really, and I've spent 20 years here now living in India.
Wow.
And it takes time. When you first just travel, you go as a tourist and you see little things. Oh, they do this thing differently or whatever. But there's some places I go back to again and again to help build our centers there and give energy to the students there. And, you know, when you really spend a time in a place, then you see, oh, this place has really understood how to do this particular thing so well. If only we did this thing. And so it's been a beautiful journey for me to spend so many years in India. There's so many beautiful, wonderful things here about this culture that the world, it's not only it would be better, the world needs a lot of these deep understandings. India is an ancient culture and has evolved many things that really, really work. And we need to share these parts with the rest of the world.
Nice. So nice. So when was the first time you visited India?
I came December 2004. Yes.
2004. So
Yeah.
what was your first impression when you
I was actually
landed in India and you actually saw people and you saw the cultures, then you became a part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
How was this experience, or how did you feel? What was the first impression?
It took time. I was a little bit overwhelmed landing. The Delhi airport was not like it is now. It's a very nice one now. And people just pulling, come get in my taxi. And and then there was many big trucks on the road, and it was, Delhi's a much different place than it was then. But there was many things that I didn't understand, but I felt a very deep place in my heart that I need to have patience and strive to understand, why is this like this? Sometimes foreigners come to India and they say, oh, I don't like this and I don't like this, and they go away. But I knew there was something here that was so deep that all of the superficial things that I needed to just spend time and just learn and just understand. And I'm so grateful that God has given me this opportunity to try to integrate myself as much as possible into Indian culture, because I have learned so much. There is so much true and pure love here and ways of doing things that really do work. And it's really wonderful. So it's been a journey for me, and it's a journey that never ends. I'm here now in Hyderabad, and I'm watching my friends speak Telugu, and it's like, okay, I've been working on Hindi and it's okay now, but here we go again. Here's another language. But that has given me a respect for, wow, look at how well India integrates all of these different cultures, the different food,
languages.
Yeah, the different languages, the different ways of doing things. Yet I feel there is a deep unity in India. And the more I go into each individual culture, I get a more profound respect for the unity that is here. And it's wonderful. It's really amazing.
Can you say that spirituality was born in India?
Actually,
do you agree with that?
Paramahansa Yogananda said, India is the guru of the world. And then he'd say, not you. He didn't say Indians. He said India. And so that's an important thing, because all of us were just travelers for a little section of time in certain places. But the deep cultural understandings, the deep respect one sees in the culture here for God in general. And of course, that's being kind of changed right now, and what's the word I'm looking for? Attacked a little bit. But that's a good thing, because then people start to think, okay, what do I really believe in? But India also has done just the science of the breath and the mind and how to go deep into God realization and turn it into a science. The rest of the world hasn't done that. And India is the guru of the planet. And I mean, I think it will be a wonderful thing when the world starts tuning into that and starts asking, okay, Guruji, what do I have to learn? Please teach me. And I believe it will come. It will. The world, especially in America, wants to know spiritual things and things that give comfort to the heart, because you can only reach a certain level of material comfort. I mean, think about it. If there's a cushion on your couch, you can only move it around so much to try to get comfortable, but you'll never get absolutely perfectly comfortable. That perfect comfort comes from within, and that's where India excels, teaching us how to have that.
So nice. So there's a term, maybe you're aware of, the Vishwaguru.
I have not heard this term, but it means guru of the world. Vishwa means world, so
India's
yeah,
Vishwaguru.
It is. It really is. I deeply, deeply believe that. Yeah.
It was really nice talking to you. I wish I could continue for longer and longer. Maybe we will come, we'll come to our studio again, and we'll just have a longer conversation next time, since time won't permit today. I am really thankful to Shankaraji for joining us and sharing your insights. And it was not an interview, I would say. It was just knowledge sharing and just
Souls
trying to
connecting.
know each other,
Yeah.
trying to understand each other in a way, and trying to understand more about Ananda, because a lot of people may not be aware of Ananda as a movement. So it was really nice being with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
I
the
would
joy
love to see you one more
that
time.
is in you. I would love that too. Okay.
My dear viewers, I hope this session was very informative. You enjoyed this conversation. You gained a lot of knowledge from this conversation, and I would say that we were just talking, and I'm sure that you learned too a lot, because I have gained a lot of knowledge from Shankara ji. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on camera and off camera. Thank you so much.